You ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Process Fixer. Help you see the bigger picture. Derrick Mains is the elixir, cutting waste away like scissor. Woo!
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Process Fixer. I want to chat with you today specifically about a trend that I'm seeing on LinkedIn, and it is a good thing, but I want to put out some warnings for you about this. So there's a lot of people right now, and I predicted this 6 months ago. A lot of people are talking about process improvement. How do we improve our processes? How do we document our processes? How do we get everything into a single place? This is happening for a number of different reasons. On one side of the aisle, people are wanting to document these processes because they know that there's about ready to be staff reductions across the board, and they want to make sure they get all of the oral tradition, all the stuff that's in your head, and they want to do an internal knowledge transfer to get all of that information into a single place so that the next people that come in and have to do that work are able to look back at it and know what you need to do to be a success. That's one aspect. The other thing is this is always a trend. Every time there's a downturn, every time there's a slowdown, people want to document process. And I've been in this business for 20 plus years. I've been a COO. I've done this over 100 companies that I've worked with where we've accurately documented their process and improved the overall system. The problem with process documentation is that it is not one thing. You should never document a process until you have really refined that process and got it very, very lean. What do I mean by that? Let me give you a couple stories. Years ago, we worked with a manufacturer here in Tempe. They had 16 people in their customer service department, and we put Fitbits on every single person, and we tracked what they did on a daily basis. In that company, each of the 16 people walked about 16,000 steps per day in their customer service job. Now, that was quoting people, that was giving them estimates, that was checking on the status of orders, figuring out deliveries, all of those kind of things. We were hired to come in and document the process to make it easier to train on. What we learned very quickly was that the process was so inefficient, was so egregiously full of waste in multitudes of different ways, that if we had actually done what we were hired to do and document that process, we would have made the perfect shit sandwich. That's exactly what we would have done. We would have took, I believe it was a 57-step process, and we would have documented it, and we would have made videos, and we would have done all of these things and put together a training manual and all of this stuff to document how to do the work as shittily as possible. But instead, we refused to do that. What we did is we followed the DMAIC method of Lean and Six Sigma. Define what the problem is. Well, we have a big customer service department. It seems like it's very inefficient. Let's measure what the people are doing right now. That's why we put the Fitbits on them. We went from 16,000 steps with 16 people a day to 1,600 steps with 4 people a day after going through this. We then measured all of the things that they did. How long does it take for them to do step 1? How long does it take for them to do step 2? And I'm talking literally sit there with a stopwatch, watching them do it. Then we run a PERT analysis. What is a PERT analysis? Well, it looks at, okay, we have to assume that what we observed was probably close to perfection because it was being observed. Then we have to create a deviation chart from that. We have to figure out what the actual amount of time is, how many times does it occur per week, per day, per month, per year, calculate all the labor costs associated with that. So we've defined, we've measured, then we analyze it. What does analyze mean? Now we actually do a process map that shows all those times in there, and then we run this through multiple layers of analysis. We look at other industry standards. We look at historically a company of that size. I think it was about $20 million. How many customer service people do they have? From our experience, how many customer service people should we have? What tasks should they be doing? We actually found in that process that 20% of the revenue of that company was around a single product, but about 80% of the labor in the company was associated with that single product. And when we took that product separately and we broke it out into its own map, what we discovered was all of the losses of the company was actually losing money. 100% of the losses were associated with that single product. So what did we do? We stopped selling that product. That fixed the problem. If we had not gone through the define, measure, analyze, then we go to improve after we've done all of this analysis, all of this process mining, all of these studies and charts and graphs and standard deviations, then we can improve. And we bring everybody together. We have a whole process, how we bring everybody together. We get them to understand why the old process didn't work. We make improvements on a new process. We beta test a new process for maybe a week or two and see how that works. We then time everything again with the stopwatch. How long did it take this time? We see what our improvement was. We try to make additional improvements. Then and only then, after all of this has happened, do you document out the process for trading. If you do it at any time before then, you have made yourself a chocolate pie. You have taken shit and you've baked it into your process and you've just screwed yourself on your profitability. So you can do it that way. I know there's lots of people out there, oh, let's just document your process so it'll be so much easier to hire people. You want to have all this information in one place. Sure, you want to have a bunch of shit in one place and a recipe on how to produce shit every single day for the rest of your business's life. Short life, let's just be honest, because those guys, had we not fixed that, would have been out of business years ago. But we got to step back, people. We have to understand that what you're looking at when you're talking about process documentation is not an entire thing. You're talking about doing one thing out of an entire game plan of things, and you're trying to make that this sort of centerpiece of everything you do. You think about a football game. What if we just went into the players and we just said, score touchdowns? Well, do we have to catch the ball? Do we have to run? No. Just score touchdowns. Well, they don't know all the things that have to go into that to build up to scoring touchdowns. So you have to set yourself up for success if you want to get into process documentation. It's the reason why there's lots of pitches that we get from people that are like, can you document our processes? We walk them through this and they say, well, we had somebody else tell us they'll just document them for us. Please go ahead and do that. I'll set you up with a great bankruptcy attorney, because 2 or 3 years from now, after you've wasted millions of dollars in labor, you're going to need one. So I'm sorry for the reality check. I know sometimes people don't like the way that I approach this topic in particular, but stop baking shit sandwiches. Stop creating shit inside your process and get it fixed, then document out what is a perfected process. Taiichi Ohno, the founder of the Toyota production system, had lots of great quotes about how to improve process. One of my favorite stories is he said, once you finally perfected it and got it so that it cannot improve at all, there's about 50% more improvement to be had. Wow. So I'm just talking about, let's just get it to the place where we all agree it's as perfect as it possibly can be. But even at that point, you have to keep revisiting those processes over and over and over. It has to be part of the strategy and tactics of your business. And if it's not, enjoy your delicious shit sandwich.
You ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Process Fixer, help you see the bigger picture. Derrick Mains is the elixir, cut and waste away like scissor. Woo!